Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, sit tight because what I'm about to tell you could really shake up the NFC East and more specifically the Washington Commanders. We've got some whispers from around the league, rumors that could turn into a seismic shift in the landscape of the division, and it involves none other than Trey Hendrickson, the elite edge rusher currently with the Cincinnati Bengals. This isn't just some gossip. It's a potential blockbuster trade that could redefine the Commanders' defensive front and their entire playoff outlook. So let's unpack everything, because this story is not only about a player, but about a strategic move that could propel Washington into a different stratosphere, especially as they chase that elusive Super Bowl title. First, let's set the stage. The Cincinnati Bengals, a team that's been fighting to find stability and consistency after a tough start to the season, are reportedly looking to make some bold moves. They're currently sitting at 2-5, and if you've been paying attention, you know that their defense has been struggling to contain opponents, allowing an average of 6 points per game. That's a pretty alarming stat for a team that's supposed to be contending. Their defense, especially their pass rush, has been underwhelming, and this is where Hendrickson's name comes into the picture. He's a player that, despite a somewhat inconsistent start to the season, is still regarded as one of the most talented pass rushers in the league. His skills, his size, and his ability to generate pressure make him a prime target for teams looking to bolster their front seven. So what are the Bengals thinking? Well, sources close to the league suggest that Cincinnati is considering trading Hendrickson to the Washington Commanders in exchange for a first-round pick in 2026 and a third-round pick in 2025. Yes, you heard that right. A first-rounder in 2026. That's a significant asset, and it shows how much Cincinnati values this rebuild process. They're trying to free up cap space, about $14 million, while also acquiring future assets to help rebuild their roster around Joe Burrow, who's been battling injuries and inconsistency this season. Burrow's QBR currently stands at 85.4, and with an offensive line that's been giving up around 6 sacks per game, it's clear that they're looking for immediate upgrades and long-term solutions. But what about Hendrickson himself? Well, he's 30 years old now, and at 64 and 270 pounds, he's the kind of player that can be a game-changer on any defensive front. His PFF grade, which is a pretty good indicator of his performance, sits at an impressive 92, one for his career. In the current season, until October 25th, Hendrickson has accumulated 5 sacks, 22 pressures, and 3 forced fumbles. These aren't just stats. They are game-changing plays that can turn the tide of a game. His sack rate, around 4.2%, is solid, and advanced stats show he has a positive EPA per pressure of +0.52, meaning he's effective when rushing the quarterback. When you watch him play, his impact is undeniable. Even after a shoulder injury in Week 4 that limited his snaps to about 72%, he bounced back in Week 6 with 2 sacks against the Ravens, showing resilience and a high motor. Hendrickson's career totals tell the story of a relentless pass rusher. With 62 sacks, 158 QB hits, and 12 forced fumbles so far, he's a player who consistently pressures the quarterback, forces turnovers, and disrupts offensive rhythm. In particular, his performance in recent weeks has shown that he still has a lot left in the tank. His ability to generate sacks in critical moments makes him a perfect fit for a team like Washington, which is desperately seeking to improve their pass rush and create chaos for opposing quarterbacks. Now, let's talk about what this could mean for the Commanders. As we all know, Washington has been trying to find their identity on defense, especially in pass rushing. Their current sack total is around 12, which ranks them 24th in the league, definitely not where they want to be. Adding Hendrickson to the mix, along with a player like Louvu, could create an absolute nightmare for opposing offenses. The duo would be a nightmare for quarterbacks, increasing the team's sack projection to around 24 or even higher. Imagine the pressure that Jaden Daniels, the Commanders' quarterback of the future, would face with a frontline that includes Hendrickson and Louvu. Their presence would not only improve the pass rush, but also reduce the amount of yardage allowed through the air, currently averaging about 240 yards per game, which is far from ideal. With Hendrickson's ability to generate pressure and force turnovers, the entire defense would be upgraded, opening up opportunities for blitzes and more aggressive stunts that could lead to game-changing plays. This move would also have a tangible impact on the team's chances in the playoffs. As of now, Washington holds a 3-4 record, not exactly commanding, but with Hendrickson's addition, their odds of making a deep playoff run could see a significant boost. The Super Bowl odds, which were around plus 12-0, could drop dramatically to plus 5-0 with Hendrickson on board, turning him into an X-factor in their quest for the Lombardi Trophy. It's not just about individual stats, it's about creating a culture of relentless pressure, forcing opponents into mistakes, and capitalizing on turnovers. The playoffs are won on that kind of aggressive, disruptive defense, and Hendrickson's arrival could be the spark that ignites Washington's postseason ambitions. But of course, nothing is without its concerns. The Bengals are trying to rebuild, and losing Hendrickson would be a blow. They're also facing their own injuries, with players like Sam Hubbard out for 3 games after tearing his ACL, which further complicates their situation. Cincinnati's odds of winning the Super Bowl, which once looked promising, have now plummeted to around plus 10-0. They're in a tough spot, trying to rebuild while competing, and a trade like this could be part of their long-term plan, even if it dents their immediate chances. For the Commanders, though, this is a golden opportunity. They are in a position to make a serious statement in the NFC East, which remains one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Eagles and Cowboys are formidable, but with Hendrickson's addition, Washington could finally crack the code on their pass rush woes. It's about more than just adding a player. It's about shifting the entire defensive identity, making them more aggressive, more relentless, and more capable of disrupting the rhythm of their division rivals. The potential impact on their schedule is massive, especially with games coming up against teams that have potent offenses. Now let's switch gears a bit and look at the bigger picture. The Commanders are known for their resilience and their ability to adapt. Over the years, they've had moments of brilliance and periods of rebuilding, but right now, the window is open for a significant push. The organization has about $27 million in cap space, which gives them some flexibility to make moves before the trade deadline on November 4th. If the rumors are true and the deal goes through, Hendrickson would immediately become a cornerstone of their defense, anchoring a pass rush that could rival some of the league's best. His ability to generate pressures, statistically, he ranks among the top 3 in true pass set win rate at around 42%, with an 89% double-team rate, means that offensive lines would have to dedicate extra resources just to contain him, freeing up other players to make plays. And what about the style of play? Hendrickson's presence would mean Washington could deploy more creative blitzes, more stunts, and more aggressive schemes that capitalize on his skill set. His historical impact, similar to how trading for Bosa in San Francisco boosted their pressure numbers in 2023, shows that a player like Hendrickson can be a catalyst for a whole defense. His ability to produce 12 sacks in a season, combined with his knack for forcing turnovers, he's averaged about 2-1 turnovers per game across his career, could be the difference between just making the playoffs and making a real Super Bowl push. Now, imagine the playoff scenario. If Hendrickson joins Washington, the odds of them making a deep run increase significantly. They could go from a team with a decent record to real contenders, especially if their offense continues to develop under Jaden Daniels. The team's offensive line has improved, and with Hendrickson providing reliable pressure from the outside, Daniels would be able to operate with more confidence, extending plays and finding open receivers more consistently. It's that kind of dynamic that can turn a team's postseason fortunes around. Finally, let's talk about the broader implications. This potential trade is reminiscent of moves that helped shape dynasties in the NFL. It's about acquiring a difference maker, a player who elevates everyone around him. Hendrickson, with his experience, talent, and proven production, could be that guy for Washington. His addition might not just be about this season, but about setting the foundation for sustained success. And in a division as competitive as the NFC East, making bold moves like this is essential to standing out from the crowd. So, in summary, folks, we are looking at a scenario where the Cincinnati Bengals, in their rebuild mode, might be willing to part ways with a premier pass rusher in Hendrickson in exchange for future assets that could help them build a more sustainable team around Joe Burrow. Meanwhile, the Washington Commanders are eyeing this as a prime opportunity to accelerate their defensive rebuild, add a proven disruptive force, and take a giant leap towards playoff success. It's a story of strategic moves, bold risks, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Whether this trade will happen or not, it's clear that the landscape of the NFC East could change dramatically in the coming weeks, and Washington could be at the center of that storm. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you believe Hendrickson could be the missing piece that finally pushes Washington into serious Super Bowl contention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and more news about your beloved Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep this conversation going. We're all part of the same family, and together we're building something special. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.